So we started by talking yesterday about how do you get prepared and ready for a promotion? How do we get ready for anything in 2021? And there's all sorts of things that I would like to share with you. And I've put together a workshop that we'll be doing, talking about that on December 7th, 8th, and 9th. We'll be talking about, in December 7th through the 9th, it's on how do you get ready, looking at how do you get promoted, and looking at that next opportunity for yourself for next year. And then on December 14th and 15th, I'll do a workshop on how is it that you can generate as much as $10,000 in over 90 months that you will start to accumulate and grow on a monthly basis. Because you know what, I feel like me, we've seen so much on the internet about buy this, buy that, but people don't look at results. And so I have partnered with people to really look at how do we bring people results, because none of us can survive without that. But for both of those workshops, we need to look at what gets in our way. And so for the next about 10 to 15 sessions, I'm going to spend it on what are the roadblocks? What do we allow to get in our way? Because we do allow things to get in our way. And when we do, we suffer terribly as a result. And so one of the first things that I want to talk about is as our sphere of influence increases, we feel wonderful. We feel that success. And we feel like we're really on top of the world. We got it all together. And then one day we're hit with a brand new realization. And that is that we may have unwittingly placed roadblocks in our career path. You see, what Marshall Goldsmith talks about is that what got us here isn't going to necessarily get us to the next place. But we keep using those old processes and systems, hoping, thinking that it's going to get us to the next place. And the problem is it doesn't. And as we move up the ladder, we tend to keep reusing, and we tend to overuse them. And it worked for the levels before us, but it doesn't work for the levels above us. And so one of the challenges we have is how do we shift? Same thing in business. We may have gotten to a certain point, and then we look at it and we go, but I can't get to the next level. That's right, you can't, unless you remove the roadblocks that you've been putting in your path. And sometimes we think of them as bad habits. They're not necessarily bad habits. They simply are habits that we've accumulated. They worked. And so that's why we use them. One of the things that we need to realize is that there's two ways we make it difficult for people to change behavior, for us to change behavior and for others to change behavior. And one is that we assign a role to a person. So think of it in your own family. You have a child who does something repetitively. They're working hard to change. Maybe you've spent money on helping them to change even. And then you start to see the change. But in your mind, you are still seeing that person in their former behavior. And unconsciously, how we respond begins to move them back to where they're used to be. We get assigned a role based on past performance and we play it out. Same thing in the workplace. We assign roles to people and then we maybe want them to change, but when they step out, somehow it doesn't feel comfortable or natural. And so we push them back into their past behavior or performance. And then all of us are frustrated. We have a strong bias for action also, mostly on what we should do, but not on what we should not do. So as we move ahead, we have to look at what are we going to shed? As we go into 2021, look at what isn't going to serve you in order to go to the next level. Because if you want to get there and you're going to take on new behaviors, you're going to have to get rid of the ones that don't work or they become weights. I don't know if any of you watched the Mission movie many, many, many years ago, but there's a scene there where this priest who has been helping the Portuguese find slaves in Brazil is feeling remorseful. He's feeling repentant and he's thinking, How can anybody ever accept me as a real human being after all of what I've done? And another priest comes to him and says, when you feel forgiven by the people you have wronged, you will be able to let it go. And so he arranges for him to go and meet with the Indians in Brazil. And you see them climbing this steep stone wall to get to the area where they need to in the jungle. But this priest has attached chains to him with cans and ropes and all sorts of heavy bags and things that he's pulling along with him as he's climbing. And of course, the climb becomes very difficult because of the weight of what he's dragging. Well, that's what we tend to try and do. We want to move ahead. We want to climb up that wall while carrying this very, very heavy chain and rope of stuff, of baggage that we no longer need, but for whatever reason, we have a hard time cutting it loose. And so this is the time, take inventory, look at what do you want, what do you need, and what are you going to cut loose? And then I want to also make note that although many of these things I'm going to be talking about in the next few days are from Marshall Goldsmith, I'm also drawing from Sally Helgeson. And one of the things that she talks about particularly, she has worked with women executives and looked at the roadblocks that they have put in their pathway. So Marshall Goldsmith looks at the population in general, both men and women. Sally Helgeson has looked at the roadblocks that women specifically put in their way. And although there are similarities, there are also some differences. And so I'm going to cover both because I'm guessing that there are some of you who are women and some of you who are men who are listening to this, and you'll want both perspectives. Irrespective of your gender, I think you're going to want to know both perspectives because you're going to be working with both men and women, and it's good to know what the roadblocks are. So the first one is the need to win too much. You know, sometimes it's really not important to win, but we want to win. Like, what movie are we going to watch? I had my grandchildren over and we were trying to choose what movie to watch. Each one, there were 4, each one had an opinion. Each one wanted to win at the choice, right? Because we can only watch so much. And it's my movie we're going to watch. But what's really important? What's really important is the relationship that we're building through time together. It's not the movie choice, right? But we get so caught up in, I'm winning. Same thing. We play chess and we get one group doesn't want to play because I can't win. He always wins. Why should I play if he's going to always win? So there's this concept of if I can't give up winning because my identity is attached to that. But when we win too much, when winning becomes what's important, what motivates us, what drives us, what have we done? We've diminished the people around us. We have said their opinion doesn't matter. We've said that what it is that they're working on is not so important. We don't listen as carefully because we have minimized them. So when we're looking at doing something, growing, moving into the next position, this is something we've got to give up because as we move up in the chain of leadership, as we become owners of businesses, as we're trying to grow as coaches, whatever it is that we're doing, if we are the ones who need to win, then we're not taking the time to carefully listen and help our clients solve the problems that they're trying to solve. In the workplace, as you're moving up, our job becomes, how do we help the people that are under us or in line with us feel success? Because you know what? When they feel success, they feel like they're a part of my team. And when they're a part of my team, what I need to get done gets done. So when we can shift from my ego, my success, my wins, to being able to look at listening and really growing and developing what's ahead of us to produce a result, then we are successful. And that's what people really want, isn't it? So I'm going to end here. We'll take up the second habit that gets it, or roadblock that gets in the way. tomorrow. Look forward to talking with you.